Hey, Ball State sports fans. Welcome into episode 2 of 2025 of This Week in Ball State Sports. An exciting show on tap today. Director of Athletics Jeff Mitchell joins us. We'll have our second alumni spotlight segment. Men's basketball's Trey joins the show. And track and field's Jenna Oriani also hopping on This Week in Ball State Sports. That's all to come. Lots to talk about. Tons of events happening on campus. We'll start breaking it down here with Jeff Mitchell after the break on This Week in Ball State Sports.
On the Gamebridge Ball State Cardinals Sports Network from Learfield. Welcome to This Week in Ball State Sports, a Ball State Athletics podcast, highlighting the Cardinals athletics teams and administration each week. Presented by Gamebridge. Here's the voice of the Cardinals, your host, Mick Tidrow.
Director of Athletics Jeff Mitchell joining us first and foremost. Jeff, appreciate your time, and thanks for bearing with us in this empty apartment unit as they're working on our furnace today down here. So we're just going with the punches.
Well, on a cold day, Nick, I'm glad you're warm. That's the most important thing, and it's a pleasure to be here, as always, with you.
Jeff, with the new year going on, what's the first couple weeks been like for you?
Well, we've gotten right back into it, with basketball games and volleyball games, and we're really excited about what we've got coming up this week as we host men's and women's basketball doubleheader on Saturday, and a huge top 10 matchup in men's volleyball on Thursday and Friday, 2 matches against BYU. We come in this week ranked number 6 in the country, and we will be hosting the number 5 ranked BYU Cougars. Interestingly enough, we were flipped as we started the season. We were preseason ranked number 5. BYU was preseason ranked number 6. And we split at Stanford on the road. They were ranked preseason number 13, and they've jumped to number 11 now, I believe, as I was looking at the rankings. But we split with Stanford last week. It was a huge win for us last Friday. Stanford got the best of us on Saturday. So just high-level volleyball coming into Worthen Arena this week. And then, of course, again, the excitement around men's and women's basketball with a doubleheader on Saturday. So all our energy and attention has been focused on these winter sports. And, of course, we're planning for spring sports. They're going to get here sooner rather than later. And, of course, just with the enthusiasm around Mike Urimovich and football, we're obviously looking ahead to football season next year and having a lot of planning meetings around what football looks like and ticket renewals and all those things that go into the business side of what we do, and other exciting projects in the works. This is a tease, Mick. You got a peek.
I did.
That we're working on. So that's all we'll say today, and get people excited about what might be coming down the line. But we got a lot of things in the works that I think people will be excited about as we are in a position to start talking more about it.
Can confirm really cool projects coming up here around Ball State Sports in the athletic department. I'm glad you went down that path of teasing it, Jeff. Before we get to more volleyball and basketball conversations and some other sports, program record was broken. Jenna Oriani from track and field and the Wisconsin Invitational broke her own program record, Jeff. Just another spectacular performance for Jenna.
Yeah, Jenna continues to improve year over year, so really excited to continue to watch her compete throughout the course of this indoor and then outdoor track season. But, anytime you can break a record twice, she set the high mark in the 300 prior to breaking her own record over the weekend. So it means you're fast, and I'm glad I don't have to race her.
Yeah, that's a good call. It's a 300-meter dash record for Jenna Oriani, breaking her own program record for that squad. That program's also in action in Indianapolis this weekend, so they have another opportunity to compete. Jeff, looking at these, wanted to start off with that just because of an impressive record there for Jenna. You mentioned men's volleyball splitting against Stanford, another top 5-6 ranked matchup against BYU. I think we're seeing Ball State men's volleyball. They've hosted a couple of matches already, gone on the road to be tested against Stanford, now coming back against BYU. This is a premier weekend across men's volleyball.
Yeah, it really is, and our team's built for it. They're looking forward to the challenge, and I think it's a great match for BYU too. I think they're looking forward to the challenge that Ball State presents them. So, high level volleyball. I think the building will be electric here in Worthen on Thursday and Friday evenings, and we're expecting big crowds, and we're really looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun. Our guys are too, and Coach Cruz and his staff have put together a really strong team, and it's just a joy to watch them compete, and really looking forward to Thursday and Friday.
Women's basketball, men's basketball, you mentioned it, doubleheader on Saturday, an 11:30 a.m. start for women's basketball against Akron, and then 2 o'clock for the men's basketball team against Toledo. Those are two massive matchups. Women's basketball, Jeff, is trying to go to 5-0 in the conference, continue that undefeated mark in MAC play, which has been impressive considering some of the circumstances that they had to go through to get to Buffalo and then play and dominate against a really good Mid-American Conference team.
Yeah, they're of course on the road on Wednesday against Kent, and that is a big matchup for them as well. And then of course we'll return home Saturday against Akron. But this team is built to handle some adversity, and you referenced a little bit of a travel adversity as they went on the road to Buffalo. Buffalo entered the game at 13-1 overall, and were looking to potentially upset our team, and it didn't hurt their chances that we were not able to get into Buffalo until just a couple hours before tip-off on Saturday with some travel issues. And look, we want to make sure our teams travel safely, and our women's team was traveling from a regional airport to Buffalo. There were some concerns about icing, and the best course of action was to delay the flight overnight from a Friday to a Saturday. Coach Sully and his team wanted to play as originally scheduled, and it just made for a compressed time as they got to Buffalo and got to the gym. But our young women are so talented and were so dialed in that they competed in a very spirited way en route to a 22-point win over Buffalo. So it was good for them to be tested that way. And now they are again on the road and no travel issues, and looking forward to playing Kent State, who also is a very good team. It'll be a good test for us in the middle of the week. But, of course, we look forward to getting back to the friendly confines of Worthen Arena this weekend.
Yeah, especially after that road swing against two of the preseason favorites, along with Ball State, Buffalo, and Kent State on the road in back-to-back matchups. So the Cardinals at Kent State, that is today on Wednesday as we record this, and then back home Saturday, like you mentioned, Jeff. On the men's basketball side, went 1-1 this week, defeated Bowling Green at home, and then lost to Ohio on the road, but they're back on Saturday against Toledo in Worthen.
Yeah, again, looking forward to playing in front of a home crowd, and a great win against Bowling Green on this past Saturday. Tremendous crowd, tremendous energy, great atmosphere in the arena. You go on the road, and it's a little harder. And we had some defensive lapses, some turnovers that hurt us, and those things, in conference play are sometimes tough to overcome, especially on the road. So our guys will look to rebound against Toledo on Saturday. It'll be a high-level matchup. And this league has been entertaining thus far. Teams are getting beat at home. They're going on the road and winning. And we're hoping that the fortunes are reversed a little bit for us, and that we can get a win at home this weekend like we did over Bowling Green, facing a good Toledo team. But I do think that there'll be some good energy again in the arena, and that's always just a tremendous home court advantage for us when Worthen is jumping around. So I was thrilled with what we did this past Saturday, and looking to replicate that this coming Saturday. Mick, I also want to mention that we have a little bit of an outlier in terms of games coming up on Monday, which is Martin Luther King Jr. Day, and we'll be hosting a women's basketball game with that tip starting at 11 a.m., and that is being broadcast nationally on CBS Sports Network. Against Toledo, so that's going to be a good matchup, good home court opportunity for us on a national holiday for our fans to come out and watch morning time hoops here in Worthen Arena.
Yeah, we get back-to-back home games, morning hoops for women's basketball. 11:30 that's this Saturday, and then Monday at 11 o'clock. Those are fun games. Morning basketball. I love morning basketball. I don't know about you, but I love it.
Yeah, it's fun, and I think that our team is excited about it. So, and it's always good to showcase our team at home on national TV. And when the league approached us about the opportunity to play at this particular time slot on this particular day, we didn't hesitate and, of course, accepted. And Toledo was the same way. So grateful for that, and grateful that we get to highlight our great women's team on a national scene on Monday. It's going to be fun.
Ball State Gymnastics with a massive win this past weekend as well, Jeff, at a quad meet here at Ball State. Their first home meet of the season took on SEMO, Wisconsin, Eau Claire, and Illinois, who they took on last year in the NCAA Regionals. Ball State beats all three programs and has a great start to this young gymnastics season.
Yeah, it was a fun atmosphere, again, at home in the arena. We had a lot of energy with Taylor Swift theme night or theme afternoon, and music was blaring. And, it's so fun to watch those talented young women compete. They are exceptional athletes, and there's little room for error as they compete in the various exercises that they do, and it was close against Illinois in particular, and it came down to our final event on the floor exercise, and our team just nailed it, and it led them to a big win. That win, Mick, I think will prove to be very helpful as the team continues to advance throughout the season and looking for another postseason invitation. So we'll see how it goes, but I know Coach Salim was very pleased with the performance of her team. That's really solid back-to-back weekends of high-level gymnastics, and we look forward to continuing that as we go on the road this weekend to compete.
Yep, Ball State Gymnastics has 3 more home meets as well in the regular season, which is exciting for everybody. You can get your tickets at ballstatesports.com. Check out the gymnastics program. They're off to 2 really good weekends, especially with that home quad meet over those 3 programs. Jeff, looking ahead to this weekend as well, women's tennis season begins on Friday on the road at Notre Dame.
Yeah, Coach Curtain is looking forward to competing with his team, and they'll go just up the road to play the Fighting Irish, and excited to see how they do this weekend. It's a tough opponent. The men, of course, started this past weekend on the road at Michigan against a tough opponent, and it's early tennis, and you've got to get some of these tougher matches out of the way just to see where you are and table set so that you can improve throughout the course of the season, certainly as you get into conference play. But looking forward to seeing how the Cardinals on the women's side in tennis do, and looking forward to the start of that season.
We had head coach Bill Richards of the men's tennis program join us on the podcast last week. If you haven't seen that one, go ahead and check it out across our Ball State Sports platforms. The men's tennis program also in action this week against Indiana. So women's tennis starts the season. Men's tennis in weekend number 2 of their spring season. Jeff, looking to this weekend as well. Women's swim and dive hosting a meet as well in Llewellyn Pool.
Yeah, hosting Bowling Green, and they had a little disruption this past weekend with the weather, and we're supposed to host a meet against Evansville. Evansville was unable to get here, and certainly, we are prioritizing safety of not only our student athletes, but student athletes from other institutions as well, and certainly understand that driving conditions were hazardous with the winter storm that was coming through. But look forward to hosting Bowling Green this weekend. So Ball State State campus will be active this weekend, Mick, with all the activities between volleyball and swimming and diving and men's and women's basketball.
That's
so
right.
It's a fun time of year. And all indoors.
Your favorite part.
And warm. That's right.
Mentioning warmth, Southern Miss is going to come up your old school to play Ball State men's basketball for the MAC Sun Belt Challenge in February. Maybe it'll be warm by then.
Well, I don't know that it will be.
It definitely won't be.
That may be a competitive advantage for us. Obviously, we're playing an indoor sport, but that traveling to the cold may impact those players that are used to a less cold environment in southeast Mississippi, but looking forward to having Southern Miss come to Ball State, and I think very highly of Jay Ladner, who's the head coach at Southern Miss, and what he's done there. And I think it's a great matchup between the Sun Belt and the Mid-American Conference. And glad, though, that this round the Mid-American Conference will be hosting the Sun Belt teams on the men's side, and looking forward to the MAC having a lot of success on that weekend. That's February 8th, as we will welcome the Golden Eagles of Southern Miss to Worthen Arena.
I am going to put you on the spot. When you were at Southern Miss, what was the coldest venue that y'all traveled to for any sporting event? Coldest location, I should say.
You know, and this is going to be a shock because you wouldn't expect it, but we went to a bowl game hosted in Mobile, and
you're disqualified. You're already disqualified.
It was freezing, and I don't know why. The temperature was probably, Mick, only in the low 40s, but it was a humid game, and sometimes that humidity adds a layer of chill that you're just not prepared for. And so I just remember being really cold at that game. There's not a lot to pick from, Mick. So.
There's not. That's why I was curious to ask. I'm like, where is Jeff gone that's been cold when he was at Southern Miss? So
that's right. You know, there was another cold. We went to another bowl game in Dallas, the Armed Forces Bowl, and it was right after Christmas. And the Dallas area can get cold every now and then. That was a chilly game too, but I don't remember feeling as cold. Maybe I was more prepared for that than I was the bowl in Mobile, Alabama. So it's I will say this today, that as we sit here recording this, I've got it's 8 degrees, I think, outside here in Muncie, and that I never experienced in Southeast Mississippi. I can guarantee that.
This is different. This is different than Southeast Mississippi and Mobile, Alabama.
And it's awesome. It's a beautiful day.
Yeah, it's sunny out there too. So
yeah, it's great.
We're all good. Jeff Mitchell joining us here on This Week in Ball State Sports. Jeff, before we let you go, is there anything else you have for Ball State sports fans today?
Really looking forward to seeing everybody this weekend. I think it's going to be a fun few days of really entertaining intercollegiate athletic sports. And, we want our community and our campus to be proud of what we're doing, the way we compete, the way we represent athletics, the way we represent Ball State University. And there's no better way to showcase that than doing it right here at home. And so we've got a lot of opportunities to see our really competitive and talented teams play Thursday through Monday of this week across a variety of sports. So come on out. You'll be in a warm environment and see some entertaining athletics, and look forward to seeing you here.
All right, Jeff, we appreciate you. We'll see you throughout the course of the week, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Mick. Go Cards.
They fly down the court and fly through the air.
Right to left, the shifty guard pulls up straight away, 3, sinks it.
And we fly with the Cardinals.
Straight away, Trey lets it loose and buries it.
This is your home for Ball State Cardinals basketball.
Drives baseline left, he throws it off the window and it drops in.
All the action all season long is right here.
Hey, Cardinal fans, welcome back inside This Week in Ball State Sports. And our next guest is track and field's Jenna Oriani. Jenna, really appreciate your time joining us here before you guys have a busy weekend down in Indianapolis.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Of course, Jenna. So just going to start off with, everybody saw the record, 300-meter record, that you broke your own record. Like, what's up with that?
Yeah, it was a really cool experience. I knew last year when I broke it for the first time, the first thought in my mind was, okay, next year we're getting this thing again. And it was pretty cool to be able to do that. So.
How have your teammates been able to help you celebrate and push you to be better, to get those records year after year here?
Yeah, I definitely couldn't have done it alone. Like Coach says every day, iron sharpens iron. So I definitely need my teammates to help me do the things I do and push me on the track. And yeah, I'm just so thankful to have a team that can push me on and off the track.
What I love is that you break the record and then you said, okay, we're going to do it again. I feel like that's such a unique perspective, because sometimes it's, broke the record, that's okay, let's just keep doing our best and make the next day the better one. But I love how you put it in your mind, like, no, I have a goal, and that's the goal, is to beat what I did last year. Yeah,
the goal is always to get better each day, each week, each month, each year. So that was definitely a goal, and I'm glad I was able to accomplish it.
So, Jenna, we're a couple weeks into this semester. What's it been like for the team these first couple of weeks of January?
Yeah, it's been good. Last week last week was our first meet of the new year, and I think it went really well. Obviously, we still have a ton of work to do, but we're just going to keep building on it each week until MAC, and then roll into outdoor.
How do you think that the fall semester kind of helped build up to what this team wants to accomplish?
Yeah, the fall semester, it's a long semester. We're just training. So it's good to finally kind of reap the benefits of what we've done so far. Each day we just have to come in, work our hardest. The fall we worked really hard, and it's starting to show. I can't wait for it to continue to show. And yeah, we're just going to keep our heads down and keep grinding.
Because the build-up from the fall to the spring, it all, like you kind of mentioned before we started, it all happens really fast. And then, boom, you're here in January, and it's rolling.
Yeah, it flies. Like, especially as a senior, I can't even believe I'm in my last couple months of school.
Yeah.
It's just, each year just goes by faster and faster. So I know this semester is going to fly because the fall flew by. So.
Definitely want to talk about what you just hit on here in a few minutes, with you being a senior and what your journey's been like here at Ball State, Jenna. But continuing the team conversation, how have you noticed the team come in to this first couple of weeks of January focused and ready to really put this next couple of months stretch where this team needs to be?
Yeah, everyone comes into practice every day focused. Same thing with the meets. Last week, you could tell everyone was so excited to be there, so excited to get back from break and just compete. Like I said before, we're just going to have to keep our heads down and keep grinding, because one good meet or one good weekend isn't going to mean anything. It all comes down to who can last until MAC and who can work their hardest until MAC. So it's going to be fun. I know we're all very excited, and we're all working our butts off right now.
So we talk about you breaking the record 2 years in a row. What kind of work went in from last year to this year for you personally to make sure that you were able to get better this year?
Yeah, so everything pretty much was the same. You just have to go in every day and give it your all. You can't wimp out on a day just because you don't feel like it. So just staying disciplined. And in the off season, I had to take some time off because I did get hurt at MAC last year. But as soon as I think I took 10 weeks. So as soon as those 10 weeks were up, I was back to the grind. I was itching to get out there, but obviously I had to let my body heal. So just honestly staying consistent, that's the biggest thing. That's the biggest thing in being able to compete the way I compete.
Absolutely. Now, what was that process for you to stay patient when you were trying to recover after MAX?
Yeah, that was honestly the hardest part. The off days are the hard days for me because I know I have to take them to let my body recover so I don't get hurt. And so obviously I pulled my hamstring at MAC last spring, and it was hard because I had a lot of goals for that meet. I hated to not be out there and help my team do what they do best, but yeah, sitting out for however long, 2 months, 10 weeks was hard, but I mean, I had to do it. to have a good season this year.
And it seems like those hamstring injuries are always ones that take a longer time to heal completely because you don't want to re-aggravate them, right?
Right. Yeah. You just got to let it heal. I mean, that's all you can do. It's hard, but you got to do what you got to do.
Jenna Oriani joining us here on This Week in Ball State Sports, talking a little track and field here. Jenna, when you look at your career arc here at Ball State, you're in your senior year, but what's this journey been like for you at Ball State?
This journey has been everything. I try to not take any days for granted because I know once I'm graduated and gone, I'm going to miss it so much. And having Coach Wheatley as a mentor has been so much. It's been he's taught me just everything everything I've been able to do on the track. I give credit to him. So I'm very thankful for him, my teammates, and just the school in general. I've been able to thrive on and off the track, so I'm very thankful.
What has Coach Wheatley done to help make you better?
We've just created a good relationship over the past 4 years, and I feel like I could tell him anything. What's on my mind. I tell him when I'm happy, when I'm mad, when I'm angry. Obviously, I tell him when I'm not too happy with him. He tells me when he's not too happy with me. So just having that relationship is everything, because I know a lot of athletes don't have that in a coach. So I'm very grateful for that.
I'm kind of intrigued by that because that seems like a very unique circumstance. Like you said, not everybody has that opportunity with their coach as a student athlete. Is that something that has been developed over time, or was that kind of just right out of the gates you two were able to connect like that and make sure that you're pushing each other to be the best as a coach and a student athlete?
I think it's definitely been developed over time. Just trust is the number one thing. Over time, trust builds, and he's seen what I can do. I know what he can do. So he knows when I'm not at my best. I know when he's not at his best. So I think, just definitely over time, we've been able to build a relationship. And year 4 now, it's been fun.
I love it. That's awesome. Jenna, looking at your decision to come here to Ball State, what was your big decision factor in coming to Muncie?
Yeah, so my family and I took a visit here because my recruiting season was during COVID. So we came up and visited here, and I just fell in love with the campus. It felt like home. The school was not too big, not too small, which is what I liked. And I just knew this was a place that I could accomplish everything I wanted to on and off the track. So that was definitely important. Both sides, being a student and being an athlete, were both big factors I looked at in the recruiting process.
What are your plans after graduation? I know that's a scary question, especially with the whole season ahead of you, but are you thinking about that yet?
Yeah, so I actually just accepted a job offer over Christmas break.
Awesome.
With a firm called Sequoia back at home. It's a wealth management firm, so I'm going to be working pretty much under an advisor for a couple years and work towards getting my CFP.
Awesome. Okay, congratulations.
Thank you.
Of course. Was that knowing what you wanted to do coming into college, did that kind of help play? Or have you learned what you've wanted to do throughout your time here at Ball State?
Oh, yeah. I had no idea what I wanted to do when I first got here. I was actually an exercise science major.
Okay.
And I switched to business, and then I switched to finance. So it kind of just happened over time. But I'm really happy with where I'm at right now.
Awesome. Okay. So when did you kind of change course?
Pretty much after I took my first chemistry class. It's pretty much when I knew I did not want to go down the science route. I want to do more math, which is what I knew, but I just wanted to try it out anyways.
Chemistry's tough. I'd have to agree with you on that.
Yeah. Me and chemistry don't go along very well.
Favorite spot on campus outside of competition?
Probably North Quad. I like going for walks through there, definitely in the fall when the leaves are all changed, so definitely North Quad.
Jenna, what have you learned most about yourself since you got to Ball State?
I've learned that I can pretty much do anything I set my mind to. Like if I believe I can do something, I can. I just have to stay disciplined, and I've definitely learned what discipline is these last 4 years. Just being consistent, getting the work done. If I want something, I just have to go out and do it. That's the only person stopping me is me. So.
I always like to ask this one. Is there a fun fact that not a lot of people know about you? It can be a skill. It can be anything that pops into your head.
Trying to think.
Any hidden talents?
Something kind of fun that I don't. My teammates know, but I don't know if anyone else knows.
Okay.
My junior year of high school, I actually kicked a couple times for the football team.
Awesome. Okay. What was that like?
It was scary, and I'm not gonna lie, it was very scary. But I mean, it was a good experience, just being able to, because I played soccer, so the football coach was like, "Hey, we kind of need a backup just in case anything happens," and I was like, "Sure, I'll do it." So I gave it a try, but it was definitely scary. Then I stopped doing it my senior year.
Your senior year. Okay. So you did it for how many years?
Just one. Just my junior year.
Okay. Awesome. Okay. So that's a unique experience.
Yeah, it was definitely unique for sure.
Have you been able to use any of those skills after that? I know you played soccer and then football, but has that been any transferable from that time?
Yeah, I mean, kind of just like the experience in general, just not being afraid to go out there with a bunch of boys. That, I don't know. But yeah, it was fun. It was, I don't regret it, but yeah, it was fun.
That's a good fact. Jenna, before we let you go here on This Week in Ball State Sports, is there anything else you could think of that Ball State fans may find enjoyable about your journey or anything like that? Yeah,
I mean, this journey has been, I mean, such a good time. I'm gonna miss it so much when I leave. I'm just grateful for Ball State in general as a community and everyone that's been able to support me. So thank you to the fans, the coaches, teammates, all my friends, family, everyone.
Well, Jenna, we can't wait to see what you do the rest of the year, breaking records in the 300-meter this year after breaking your record from last year. So we're really excited to see how the rest of the season pans out for you. Thank you for joining us, and congratulations on all your success.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Thanks.
They fly down the court and fly through the air.
Right to left, the shifty guard pulls up straight away, three, sinks it.
And we fly with the Cardinals.
Straight away, Trey lets it loose and buries it.
This is your home for Ball State Cardinals basketball.
Drives baseline left, he throws it off the window and it drops in.
All the action all season long is right here.
Hey, Cardinal fans, welcome back inside This Week in Ball State Sports, and our Alumni Spotlight segment is back for the second time here in 2025. Another men's basketball guest, and today it's Trey Moses joining us. Already 6 years of professional basketball. Trey, really appreciate you joining us, and can't believe it's been that long since you graduated, man.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me. It flies by, man.
It does. What have you been up to professionally in the game of basketball since you graduated? We know you spent some time with a few different teams, and you're in Portugal right now. What's that journey been like?
So I started off in Bulgaria. I went from Bulgaria to Australia, but then I was only in Australia for 9 days because of COVID. And then came home, went to Portugal for the first time, Cyprus, back to Australia with the same club. Got to spend an entire season there. Portugal again, Austria last year, and then Portugal this year.
How has that been, being able to bounce to some different teams and have so many different experiences?
You know, it's definitely a blessing. I think for me, I really value like being on one team, so it's a lot different than college in terms of you're spending 4 years in one place. I know things have changed now with stuff, but for me, I spent 4 years at Ball State, and for now it's a different team every year. So I kind of you kind of look forward to it, but at the same time, you get a little nervousness going into new places and new opportunities.
How have you been able to kind of navigate throughout that process?
It's been tough. I'm lucky this year. My coach now I played against 2 years ago, so he was already familiar with me and what I can do. And then one of my teammates I played with 4 years ago, so he kind of told the coach I was looking to come back to Portugal. I got the call from coach, and after a couple conversations, he kind of I knew he wanted me, and I wanted to be here. And I'm actually one of our captains, one of our 3 captains, which is a blessing.
Awesome. Congratulations. That's awesome.
No, thank you. For the first time in my professional career. So it's been a learning curve for sure in terms of dealing with different situations. But at least in Portugal, I've had some teammates that I've played against or played with before. But then in the other countries, it's new every year. You kind of got to get adjusted pretty quickly in terms of meeting teammates and getting familiar with them. But it's also a blessing because I'm with anywhere between 2 to 3 other Americans, imports, guys that are in similar situations as me. So we kind of all put in the same position. So we kind of have each other.
From a personal standpoint, have you been able to do much traveling outside of playing basketball?
In Portugal, I've gone to like Porto and Lisbon a couple times. When I was in Austria last year, we went to Vienna and I got to take a trip to Italy for a couple days, which was really awesome. But besides that, not too much. But we get a couple days off here and there, so I try to take advantage when I can.
Have you had a chance to run into any former teammates playing overseas?
So my first year, me and Taylor actually played against each other. We were both in Europe Cup qualifications. So the first game we beat them by 15. So the second game we had to basically lose 14 or less. They beat us by 15 in regulation, so we had to go to overtime. And they ended up getting us in overtime, so they qualified for Europe Cup. But that was super awesome getting to play against someone that I've loved and cared about for since my freshman year. That was his that was his first year. He had redshirted the year before, but that's one of my best friends and someone I consider family for life. 2 years ago, I played with Ryan Weber. That's another one of my really close friends. So just getting these opportunities to see guys that I was so familiar with and spent so much hard work and time with has been nothing but a blessing.
So the bragging rights are kind of even right now, it sounds like, between you and TP.
Technically, he got it because they won in overtime.
That's fair.
Got that
That's fair. Overtime win counts a little bit more. Trey, this is really cool to be able to break down your journey and what you've been up to professionally, and looking more on the personal side too. You've had a lot of developments in your life on that side of things as well. What would you like Ball State fans to know about what you're up to outside of basketball?
Obviously, I think everyone knows the situation that happened in 2017 with Zach Hollywood. One of my best friends, obviously, was our teammate, but I carried that with me, and I will forever carry that story with me. It was something that was obviously hard for all of us. I had spoke to his dad about wearing the number 24. That's a number I've worn every year since. 4 years ago, one of my teammates was number 24, and he basically gifted me the number after hearing my story.
That's awesome.
Which was phenomenal. And I think for me, I started a nonprofit called 24 Reasons. It's something for me that's bigger than Zach's story, bigger than my story. It's something that we're trying to just impact a lot of lives and. Mental health awareness, suicide prevention, and something for us where there's so many people out there that have dealt with similar situations, whether losing someone in general, losing someone to taking their life, mental health struggles. So we're just trying to impact, as many people as we can with storytelling. In terms of my story, but also just showing that we love and care about the people that we come across.
How have you been able to use that platform and develop that platform over the last couple of years to help people who are in need?
So last year, 2023 was, when we finally became nonprofit. So that was, it was something I'd never really knew what it took to become nonprofit, but one of my board members, Vince Kane. He's helped me a ton in terms of creating the nonprofit, but then also, just helping me learn how to manage and lead that aspect of stuff. And so, this past summer we had our first event. It was a celebrity all-star game. We had over 500 people show up, and it was just phenomenal being able to tell my story, and come across people who have had similar stories and see the impact that what we are doing to the community of a place I grew up in Louisville, and seeing the support we had. It was just amazing. So we're looking to continue that this summer, and then have some other things in store. So we're excited about our growth as a nonprofit and just seeing the impact we can make. We also did some stuff with a local nonprofit where we went in for a week and taught them different things about mental health, how to cope, different aspects of mental health that some kids may not even know of. So that was another aspect of, we felt like we went into somewhere, and impacted kids. Kids are my passion. I love kids. So it was a chance for us to impact kids like myself, who may not know what these things are, and we get it in their ear, and when they do go through struggles or a hard time in life or just whatever it is, how they can handle it, how they can cope, how they can just get through those storms.
How has your nonprofit helped yourself as well as others?
It's crazy. We had a board meeting last week, actually, and I had a tough week myself. But we get into the board meeting and get to talking, and I can just feel myself getting excited. I can just feel myself, being inspired, being motivated again. And for me, it's, I'm surrounded by people who care about the mission as well. Everyone on our board, genuinely cares about what we're trying to do. They believe in me and my story, and what I'm trying to make happen. And I couldn't do it without the people that are a part of it. And so for me, it's been a blessing to be able to see the impact, not even just in the States. I have people in countries I've played in that I still talk to, that ask how they can help, that ask what they can do, that reach out for mental health tips. So for me, it's I've always said this is bigger than myself. This is something that it's important to me. It's something I'm passionate about. I care about, and so I've always loved to help people, but to see it kind of spread to where I'm helping people all over the world is something that I never thought I'd be able to get to, but to have it happen is such a blessing.
No, it's inspirational, and it's such good work that you're doing. And I think that there's a lot of people who applaud what you and your nonprofit are doing because of the impact that you've had across the board. And it's really cool to see that you have dedicated so much time and energy and resources into that, and you're still doing it from Portugal when you're playing, and you're finding and making sure time is put into that in the right capacity. What's that balance like for you to do that and also play?
If I'm honest with you, man, we don't spend a lot of time in sport as a professional. We have, practice-wise, we have at most 3 hours a day. So I'm spending the rest of the time, playing video games with friends or doing whatever. So I have a lot of free time to be able to.
What's your top video game before you go on? What do you got?
Right now it's Marvel Rivals is what I'm playing right now. It's my favorite game.
Okay, I haven't played it yet.
It's amazing, man. But it's one of those things where I have a lot of time. So between brainstorming and our board meetings and talking to people on the board outside of the group, just trying to figure out ways that we can make an impact, ways that we can, just keep growing as a group. Because to me, I'm just, again, I've said it before, but I'm just surrounded by people who care just as much as I do. And, one of them told me no one's going to care as much as you do, but they also just care about me as a person. And when you surround yourself by people that care, it helps to keep you motivated. It helps to keep you going in moments where you feel like things may not be going as well as you want.
Trey, when you look at your Ball State career, I saw you put out a tweet. You said you'd do anything to play in Worthing again. There was one of those pictures that went out, and somebody's doing like a stadium tour, I think. And just you quote tweeted and said would do anything to play there again. Like when you think about Worthing, what kind of runs through your mind? I know there's a lot of memories, but what jumps out to you? Man,
I think it's just this aspect of, the 2 years before I got there was, they had 5 wins and 7 wins, and then back-to-back years we had 20 wins. And I think the biggest thing that sticks out to me is we all believed in Coach Witt. We all believed that we could turn it around and put Ball State basketball back on the map. And, although we never went to the tournament, there's not a doubt in my mind that teams went into games with some sort of like, these guys are good. These guys, we gotta be on our A game. They have good players. And, for me, it's Ball State, not even just basketball, but Ball State, Muncie, like that's like a second home to me. That's community. That's everything I could have ever wanted out of the university I picked. And I'm so grateful and thankful that I did, and that Coach Witt gave me the opportunity. I got to see him this past summer as well.
Oh, cool.
But for me, I think it's just this aspect that Ball State truly was family. And, wins, losses, good games, bad games, good moments, bad moments, it'll never take away from the family aspect that I felt like we had as a team.
Have you been able to get back to campus much since you graduated?
I've been back twice. It's tough because I'm there in the summer. I've been to 1 game, I think, but I don't get to see the games a ton. But it's something that, when I finally hang them up, I'm definitely gonna be spending a lot more time there.
If you had to pick some of your favorite memories, I know one that sticks out right off the top, but some of your favorite memories wearing a Cardinal uniform.
Number one is definitely when Taylor hit the game winner against Notre Dame. I feel like a lot of people, look at the game and, Ball State beat Notre Dame, but they don't look at the games leading up to it.
Yeah.
We traveled, I could be wrong, like 6,000 miles over the course of like 2 weeks.
It was crazy.
Oklahoma.
It was a crazy schedule.
We went to Oklahoma, played Trey Young, went to Oregon, played Peyton Pritchard, went to somewhere in Pennsylvania. We're 0-3 on that trip. And then
Was it Oregon?
Yeah, so
I think it was Oregon.
Oklahoma back to Muncie, Muncie to Oregon, Oregon to Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Pennsylvania then to play Notre Dame. And so we're 0-3. It's one of those games where it's like, man, our goal was to kind of go 2-2 over the 4-game stretch, and then we played Indiana State after Notre Dame. But we wanted to try to go 2-2 on that 4-game stretch, and we're 0-3. Things aren't looking as well. It's the same year that Zach had passed, and there's a lot of stress, a lot of just things going on inside my head. I can't speak for everyone, but we get to Notre Dame, and the first half is close, and you're like, dang man, like we got a chance. And then we get to the final, and Taylor hits what I would probably say the biggest shot of his career. He also hit another one a couple weeks later. So I think it's just one of those things where, that to me, and then, after the game, everyone's excited, but for me, that was the first time I had seen Zach's aunt since the funeral. And so for me, that was another moment, like, I saw her, we, both immediately started crying. And that's a moment that'll stick with me forever. Just knowing that she was there, she was like, I didn't plan on coming, or I would have told you, but it just happened last minute, and I got tickets, and we won. And for me, I've always felt like that was Zach's doing. He had a hand in that. So that whole moment to me was probably the biggest memory. And then, you look at, man, it's hard to think, you look at all the Toledo wins we had every year. Everyone picked Toledo to win the West. And, every year I felt like we always got the best of Toledo. I'm sure we probably lost my freshman year. But besides that, man, I don't really know many times I lost to Toledo. I genuinely didn't like Toledo. But so I'm glad we got those. And, I think just as a team, man, just all the memories and moments that we had on and off the court together, it's special.
That Notre Dame game, I think, sticks out for a lot of people. And for you, you mentioned personally, in addition to the game as well, with Zach's family being in attendance, like that had to be such a magical moment across the board for you. I think TP hit 3 game winners that year, right? That was his. Yeah. He had Valpo, Notre Dame, and then Bowling Green. It was some sort of season, man. He went crazy.
Yeah, he's a special player. I think to me, he's one of the best players to ever play at Ball State. You got to give him credit from all aspects: offense, defense, playmaking, scoring, rebounding. I give a lot of credit to Taylor, and I think, like I said, I think he's one of the best to ever play.
Well, Trey, before we let you go here on This Week in Ball State Sports, is there anything else you want Ball State fans to know about you, what you're up to, or anything like that regarding your journey?
Man, I don't think so. I think I just want everyone to know how special you guys made Ball State for not only me, but I'm sure a lot of people, but you guys made Ball State a special place for me. I feel like people talk about second families. I feel like I have probably 6 second families. So, I just look at Muncie as a second home for me, and it's one of those things where I'll never forget Muncie. I'll never forget the memories, the moments, and I'll forever love it.
Well, hey, when you're able to get back to a Ball State basketball game, just let us know, and we got to connect.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yep, appreciate you, Trey. Trey Moses joining us here on This Week in Ball State Sports. Trey, thank you, and best of luck there in Portugal.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to This Week in Ball State Sports, presented by Gamebridge. The preceding has been a Learfield presentation on the Gamebridge Ball State Cardinals Sports Network.